I see that materials are given to us from the most natural sense of being, and we architects and designers take things and push it a limit. And I try to remain as an architect, how to remain on the very basic essence of thing. I believe in the essence of material. I believe in how it put together and how it comes together, and the principle of material. For me, my work cannot be jumping from point A to point B or C without a rhythm. I cherish that how it really goes. And when I to do all that, I'm constantly attached to my surrounding, everyday walk, everyday talk. I take material, I look at them, I turn them around, I try to find hidden form, I try to find hidden connectivity, I find slippage, I find transparency, I find connectivity. So for me, it's just a way we see things. It's me in a way that my material, it becomes a beholder of what has been given to me from a much larger perspective. For me, if my work does not participate with the natural cause of things, I take it as a weaker work by me, and it is something that I constantly pursuing in my work. The way I look at things in slow motion or in fast motion, for me, it just ways to grasp things. You know, the city and the country is beautiful in a way. It is beautiful for its rural context. It is also beautiful if you frame it in a right way. And both ends helps me to put together my work, to make decisions. You know, Dhaka city is a collage city, and how else one can understand without getting involved in collaging his or her own work. I see sort of we are a part of a situation where we are almost forget that we are human being at times, and it's a relative term what I just said. You know, some are extremely privileged in this city, some are just being made to work hard. We became a soldier of fortune. You know, we in the search of our fortune, we forget who we are as a human being, the quality we have, and the offering we have for others. So as an architect, I'm constantly in search of those kind of elements. You know, if you look at the way I do drawings, you know, Ahsan Bhai has said it rightfully. My background in fine arts and my master's degree in architectural theory and practice, it gives me immense pleasure to look at material and look at the way things are. You know, I subsequently go and make things that I see around myself. You know, I get immensely happy when I see myself somewhat invisible in my own work from the audience point of view. So I give a lot of credit, if not all the credit, to the maker that I am a part of, and the group that I work with. And their skills, their experience is a somewhat vehicle for me. I really don't see much of a singularity in my practice. I also see in terms of interpretation of things, you know, sort of looking at things and how one can draw and make, you know, these are some object. As an architect, I just don't, like all of you, I don't spend all my hours behind desk and drawing up buildings. I do multiple things, and without that, I won't be able to practice the way I like to practice. So here, you know, you take things and you look at them carefully, and you come up with an idea. If you were to see this right side image of the lamp that I've designed years ago, my idea is that, we had this tradition of drawing up, do embroidery, which is part of a household object. And so I thought, why not design a lamp where you can buy the lamp and you can do your embroidery, you can frame it, and you can light it every night. And through my work, they get to see their work being illuminated in the room and become the subject of conversation for that. I took the fish catcher, a little thing here, and I converted it into a lamp. I have taken bottles. I've taken the fundul, what you pour your oil through, and I created a number of objects. I don't have the slide to share with you the object that I made. I try to take two different kind of sitting and try to combine them to make one. So these are all part of the practice. And I also look at material as who they are. To know the timber and to know your tools, how can one really bring out the principal quality of material through their work? How can one really get into the material? You're given a material, then how do you make material? How do you bring the materiality out of it? That has been my constant search. You can look at these images here. I've been given a metal plate, and I know it's very hard, but it also has a softness to it. So what do? You hammer it for a while, so you find out a certain quality, and you take that texture, you take that idea into making things. A blowtorch, or a welding rod can create surface. So on the image on the left here is made out of welding rods. You touch and go, and then it gives you a certain texture to it, surface to it, and you take that idea and incorporate that into material. Sometimes you take the material which has a very little transformation from original to the final product, the corner of a table. You look at a tree trunk and you keep it the way it is. At the same time, how do you incorporate an idea that serves you the purpose that you are trying with? So, it is the same object, closed and open. And in the end, it offers a place to sit down and do your work. So in a way, my constant search is how does one create and look at material? How does one really put together material? How does one bring the materiality of it? And how does one should not push it so far so it becomes an object of access? You take it so much so that it no longer looks at the way you would intend to. So most of my work, if not all my work, if an individual goes to my object or my subject, he or she will be able to ask questions. At the same time, I think he or she will find the answer from my work through my pursuit of certain quality. A table, one could just take the table, make it out of 4 plank here, but I took the time to do it the way I've done it. Why did I do that? I wanted this table to be a part of a conversation. This is a dinner table for a client of mine. I wanted a table to converse with the audience, with the user. One of the things that I thought could be interesting, by allowing the timber to come in different pieces, in different size, in different color tone. So in the end, it tells a certain truth that this is what I can be, if you wish me to be like that. But there is a sacrifice for the timber to achieve or get to the position that it has. And I think if you look at it, it is a criminal act from any designer's point of view, especially from an architect. We only celebrate the end product. We don't celebrate how this thing has come about. Because if we want to be ethical about it, then our table cannot be cut out of a timber which has not been renewable. I don't think in our country we do renewable forests. So it is an ongoing dilemma in me that should I use timber as my object of pursuit to create or produce object for others' desire. I'm working on it, and I hope to come up with some way somehow to answer some of the thing that bothers me when I go about using natural material. I think architectural practice or my practice, like many others, is to sit down and quietly do your job. It is always not always head down, but at times it has to be. You have to be keen to your work. You have to be at part with your work. Without that, I think it would be difficult to get what I would like to achieve. And I learned a lot. I learned a lot from people out of focus in our society, people that we don't like to talk about, people that we think are headache for this city. But it is an opinion I'm just giving. But without them, it would be extremely difficult to call Dhaka city a city. So I take total attention to learn from my surrounding and learn from things that we usually don't see. Uh, um, you take a sketch from a sketchbook and you enlarge it enough to become part of your work. And I've done it with pen and ink on a piece of paper, but how do you enlarge it enough to go on your building? This is how I have attempted. You sit down with a group of people, you tell them exactly what needs to be done, you make cutouts, you plaster on the wall around the cutouts, you take out the cutout, you backfill the negative, and the slide to your right is something. I always thought that the architecture should have a third eye, something that you didn't expect, but it attracts you. It's like the teeth that women wear in our country, the third eye kind of thing that allow you to gauge a thing, allows you to get excited about things. I bring that into my work. I think architecture is something that allows ones to be discoverer. I have said that in the past. I think architecture isn't so much about creative journey. I think in our academic platform, creativity has been misused, and I think often we sort of derail our most gifted student by calling them, "You're so creative." I don't support that. I think we can be creative, can discover creatively, but architecture is not a creative pursuit for me. It is about how you discover things, how you see some natural growth of fungi or plants on a brick wall. How do you bring that into your work, and how do you bring your artistic journey in architecture? And this is an example perhaps on that, and it allowed me to think. Then it also brings me back, what is architecture? In the school of architecture, when they teach you, draw a house for a client, we immediately, mostly, I could be totally wrong, but immediately we get into designing an entry door, a living room, a foyer, dining, family space. But these three images here are all someone's house, someone's home, I would say. So how do you justify your position as an architect when you look at this kind of situation that lives right around your corridor and right around your neighborhood? You slow down. You slow down. You raise question in you that how do I practice as an architect, where somewhere what I believe as part of my gain knowledge has no value to the greater society. So it is something that I need to personally gain, engage, to bring connections through my work. You look at things, you see, you walk around, you see things, and you find those who have done this work are someone, the pattern, will not be remembered as an individual of excellence. There are a particular sect of people who can do this kind of work. When you have this kind of a situation where the individual who have done this don't try to be an individual, he's part of a group. But as an architect, I think always pursue as an individual, as an architect, a star architect. But I don't pursue that. I take their work and I try to understand. I try to present them to the audience or to the user. You know, these are some of my drawings, which are somewhat not hard line at times. You know, these are some of the collages that I do, mostly to understand my pursue in this subject. You meet people, you understand, you know, they're struggling because the whole platform has shifted, but they are left there without much of any attention. And I try to bring them into my work. I try to bring them any possible ways. So Pintu Bhai Pappu Bhai is one of my favorite artisans to allow to be a part of my work. And without his work, my work will have less. I also get into academic training where I participate with participants to understand how things are put together from the basic way. And one may say, well, how that helps you to become an architect. For me, it does because I understand the principle of thing. I understand how things are cut, how that thing is turned, how that thing is understood. And without the knowledge, I won't be able to make buildings. Everything has its own material quality, and without understanding that quality, I don't think I would be a better architect. You know, you get to some situation where light becomes a very important thing for you as an architect. Where without the light, there's no architecture. Light is the giver of architecture. So without that, you know, you sometimes get claustrophobic. So here I am claustrophobic. So what do? I go back and I participate in a biennial where collective city where I thought that, you know, every single individual in the city I represented along with the rest from my own ideology, that we are just firewoods. We will serve the only purpose that we have, and the purpose is that we will burn to create light, and through our light, someone will see the darkness and go across the darkness. So that was a take that I had. I work with young kids, and we all do, and they're the kid that should be somewhere else, but here they are, you know, doing the hard work for you. Another biennial I took part in Korea, where expose the materiality of Dhaka, expose the vulnerability of Dhaka, expose the reality of Dhaka. I took this work to the Seoul Architectural Biennial, where I tried to put together an armature where you know, the true essence of Dhaka could be understood. But looking at these still images, it is difficult for me to explain the end product, how and why I picked this. But I think what I believe, that Dhaka city lives in some sort of invisibility. That invisibility is something that we chose. It's been chosen invisibility. But because if you want to look at every little detail, it would be difficult to handle the city. But that's the reality. So when I was invited to share this, the city of called Dhaka, this is what I thought that I could go about. I think in the end, I would say architectural practice, of course, it has a great connectivity of technology, connectivity of time, connectivity of space. I accept all that. But for me, without the understanding of my own body, without the understanding the ability that I have as a human being, I think rest could follow me. But the first thing I got to follow is my own ability as who I am. And if I understand most of it. I think the rest of my aspired future will follow. I think I will be remembered if I understood myself the most, and because otherwise I won't be able to share how I've been made. So for me, I want to close this talk by saying that it is in the end that I come back to my own ability as a practitioner. Thank you.